He says you look more beautiful and younger than all the women around you. And he's younger than you. You won't believe what's really going on in his mind. The truth will shock you. Every secret thought he has about you is about to be revealed. No holding back. Watch until the very end if you want to uncover the hidden feelings he's keeping from everyone. Do you know why he keeps staring at you so intensely? He can't help it, honestly. Every time he catches a glimpse of you, there's this almost magnetic pull he feels, like he's drawn to your presence without even thinking about it. It's not just your face or the way you carry yourself, it's the energy you radiate, the subtle confidence in the way you move, the way you laugh. He lingers on little details that most people would never notice. How your eyes light up when you're amused, the curve of your smile, the tiny gestures that are uniquely yours. He's analyzing, memorizing, and savoring these moments internally because, in a way, he's addicted to the sensation of having you in his line of sight. It's not obsessive in a scary way, but he can't help replaying these snapshots in his head when you're not around, imagining what you're doing, who you're talking to, and if he's going to cross your path again. What part of you makes him feel completely mesmerized? It's hard for him to pinpoint just one thing because it's a combination of everything. Your aura, your confidence, your laughter, your energy. It all overwhelms him in the most thrilling way. There's something about the way you carry yourself, a kind of quiet magnetism that doesn't demand attention but grabs it anyway. He notices how authentic you are, how your beauty isn't just skin deep but layered with warmth, intelligence, and a subtle humor that draws him in deeper than he expected. Sometimes it's your eyes, sometimes your smile, sometimes the way you tilt your head when you're thinking. Every little detail is like a signal that he can't decode fully, yet it fascinates him endlessly. He feels alive when he's around you, like you've awakened something in him that he didn't even know was dormant. Is he comparing you to other women consciously or unconsciously? Mostly unconsciously. He doesn't sit and tally comparisons actively, but his brain naturally measures the energy, beauty, and presence that others exude, and yours always stands out. You have this effortless quality that eclipses the surrounding women, even if he doesn't want to admit it to himself. He's aware of it, though, in those quiet, private moments, when he's watching interactions unfold. It's not jealousy in a malicious sense. It's more of a stunned admiration, a recognition that what you bring into a room can't be replicated. He might think he's trying to be casual, but internally he's constantly noting how different you are, how your vibe makes everyone else fade into the background. How does he feel when he sees you smiling at someone else? There's a sting that he can't deny, a twinge of longing mixed with fascination. Seeing you share a laugh with someone else makes him painfully aware of his own restraint, the fact that he's not the one making you light up that way. It triggers a cocktail of emotions, envy, excitement, and a yearning he can't quite articulate. He feels a little unsettled, as if the world is showing him a version of reality he doesn't have control over. But there's also a strange thrill, because it confirms that you're vibrant, magnetic, and alive, qualities that pull him in more than anything. In some ways, it fuels his desire to be noticed, to be the one who evokes that smile rather than just witnessing it. Does he secretly wish he could be closer to you right now? Every fiber of him wants it, even if he doesn't act on it openly. There's this longing that simmers beneath the surface, a constant thought that he could feel more alive if he were just a step closer, able to hear your voice, to catch your scent, to share even the smallest moment in your orbit. He imagines scenarios where circumstances are just right, where it's easy to bridge the gap, where proximity allows for laughter, conversation, and perhaps a touch of intimacy that he's craving. In those moments, he's caught between wanting to act and fearing that acting might break the delicate tension he's holding onto. Every glance, every chance encounter, feels loaded with potential that he desperately wishes he could explore. What emotions are triggered in him when he thinks about your age difference? There's a mix of admiration and a little bit of hesitation. On one hand, he feels excited, energized, almost youthful in comparison, and secretly delighted that he can feel drawn to someone with more experience, wisdom, and poise than he possesses. On the other hand, there's a whisper of insecurity. What if he can't measure up? What if the age gap makes his feelings seem less valid, or his attempts to connect appear naive? These conflicting emotions create a complex inner landscape where attraction and uncertainty coexist. He oscillates between bold desire and quiet reflection, fully aware that your presence challenges him in ways he hasn't confronted before. How often does he think about you during his day? More than he would admit aloud. Thoughts of you creep into his mind in moments he's trying to focus on other things, while he's working, walking, or even scrolling through his phone. Sometimes it's a flash of your face, a memory of your laugh, or a replay of a small gesture that makes him pause. It's like your presence lingers in the corners of his mind, impossible to fully ignore. He finds himself wondering what you're doing, who you're talking to, and if you might even be thinking of him. These moments aren't constant, but they're frequent enough to make him aware that his day-to-day existence is subtly colored by your influence, even when he's trying to act nonchalant. Is he afraid to admit he finds you more attractive than others around you? Absolutely. He fears that admitting this would make him vulnerable, maybe even ridiculous in his own eyes. There's a part of him that doesn't want to reveal just how strongly he's affected because he worries about judgment, both from you and from himself. He knows internally that you're captivating, and that awareness excites him, terrifies him, and humbles him all at once. So he keeps these thoughts tucked away, letting them simmer quietly, occasionally letting small gestures betray the intensity of what he feels. The idea of openly acknowledging your allure feels like stepping off a cliff without knowing if there's anything solid to catch him. What makes him hesitate to express his feelings openly? Fear and respect intermingle here. Fear that his emotions could be too intense, too premature, or misinterpreted. Respect for your boundaries and your own life. He worries that putting words to his feelings might break the delicate balance that exists between you two, that it might make things awkward, or push you away, rather than closer. There's also self-doubt. He questions whether he can articulate the depth of what he feels, or whether it would come across as genuine. He hesitates not because he's not feeling it deeply, but because he's weighing every possible outcome, trying to protect both you and himself from unintended consequences. How does he react internally when someone compliments you? There's a surge of pride, excitement, and a little pang of jealousy, all mixed together. He feels a rush knowing others notice what he already sees, but at the same time, it triggers an internal challenge. How does he stand out in comparison? How does he become significant to you amidst all these observers? Compliments about you make him hyper-aware of his own limitations and desires, highlighting just how much he values your presence and how strongly he's invested in noticing every nuance of your being. It's a cocktail of admiration, longing, and subtle competitiveness that he rarely expresses outwardly. Does he feel intimidated by your presence sometimes? Yes, in quiet, private moments. There's something about the combination of your confidence, beauty, and intelligence that can make him feel slightly vulnerable, as though he's being measured against an invisible standard. It's not fear in a traditional sense. It's more an awe-inspired hesitation, a recognition that you carry a power and poise that challenges him to be at his best. He experiences a mixture of thrill and nervousness, aware that his natural reactions, words, or gestures may never fully match the energy you radiate. It keeps him on edge in the most fascinating way, simultaneously attracted and a little unsure of his own footing. What fantasies does he have about spending private moments with you? His mind drifts to countless scenarios where he imagines shared laughter, deep conversations, and moments of playful intimacy that no one else witnesses. He pictures times when the world falls away, where it's just you two, and every gesture and glance carries unspoken meaning. Sometimes it's gentle and tender, holding your hand, sitting close, feeling your presence without needing words. Other times it's more daring, imagining moments of passion or flirtation that ignite a spark he feels only with you. These fantasies are private, carefully cultivated in the recesses of his mind, where he can explore desire and connection safely without risking exposure or rejection. Is he playing mind games? Or is he genuinely captivated? He's genuinely captivated, though sometimes his behavior might seem confusing. Any games are unintentional, more about testing boundaries within his own cautious approach, rather than manipulation. He's exploring how to be closer to you while keeping himself in control, balancing desire with restraint. The fascination he feels is real and consuming, driving his thoughts, his daydreams, and his subtle attempts to interact without overwhelming the situation. He's not strategizing in a calculated way. He's navigating the intensity of his own feelings, often unsure of how to express them without tipping the delicate scale. How strongly does he feel the urge to be around you more often? The urge is persistent and compelling, tugging at him every time he's apart from you. It's not a casual preference. It's a deep need to feel connected, to witness your energy firsthand, to engage in moments that linger in his memory long after they end. He imagines scenarios where proximity allows him to share laughter, observe your moods, and find subtle ways to create shared experiences. Every encounter that keeps him distant is a reminder of how much he craves closeness, making him increasingly aware that your presence is a powerful anchor in his emotional landscape. Does he envy other men who get attention from you? There's definitely a flicker of envy, but it's more layered than simple jealousy. He's intrigued by the men who interact with you, and sometimes wonders what they possess that allows them access. Yet at the same time, he's not resentful in a destructive way. The envy is tinged with curiosity and a drive to understand what makes him stand out, or what could make him stand out more, in your eyes. It fuels his desire to become someone memorable, someone whose presence lingers longer in your mind than anyone else's. What subtle actions does he take to make you notice him? He's constantly finding ways to insert himself into your awareness without being overt. Maybe it's a shared glance, a casual comment that only you would notice, or timing his presence when you're likely to be around. He mirrors your energy subtly, laughs at your jokes a fraction later than expected, or positions himself in situations where proximity feels natural. These actions aren't dramatic. They're nuanced, calculated only by instinct, guided by the desire to remain present in your consciousness without appearing desperate. Every small gesture is a silent message, a test of whether you reciprocate even a fraction of the attention he devotes to you. Is he aware of the magnetic pull you have over him? He's acutely aware, though he might not admit it openly. There's a constant recognition that your presence affects him on a deeper level than mere attraction. He notices how his heart rate changes, how his thoughts scatter, and how his mood shifts when you enter a space. It's undeniable, a force he both revels in and struggles to control. This awareness creates a delicious tension within him. He knows he's under your spell, and yet he's trying to navigate it with care, conscious of how potent your influence truly is. How does he perceive your confidence compared to other women? Your confidence is disarming, not in a way that intimidates aggressively, but in a way that makes him realize how rare it is. Compared to others, your self-assured energy stands out like a beacon. It's authentic, unforced, and effortlessly alluring. He notices how you command respect without demanding it, how people are drawn to your presence naturally, and how your aura seems untouched by superficiality. It fascinates him and inspires a mix of admiration and awe, because he senses that this level of self-possession is not something easily found in anyone else he encounters. What insecurities does he hide when he's around you? He conceals more than he lets on, often downplaying his nervousness or self-doubt. He might appear calm and collected, but internally he's constantly measuring whether he's saying the right thing, doing the right gesture, or making the best impression. There's an ongoing calculation about how to present himself as worthy, interesting, and appealing without overstepping or revealing too much vulnerability. These insecurities are subtle, layered under confidence and humor, but they're always present, shaping the way he interacts and the energy he projects around you. How does he react internally when he feels admiration or possessiveness toward you? It's a tangled mix of pride and tension. When he admires you, it fills him with warmth, a sense of awe, almost reverence for your beauty, intelligence, and energy. But when possessive feelings surface, he experiences a flicker of anxiety, a fear that someone else might encroach on the connection he secretly wants with you. These feelings aren't aggressive. They're protective, almost instinctual. He wants to hold on to moments, to ensure that his presence has meaning. And sometimes, that inner tug between admiration and possessiveness leaves him restless, constantly aware of the dynamics around you. How often does he replay memories of moments with you in his mind? More than he probably realizes himself. Even small interactions, a shared laugh, a fleeting glance, a conversation that seemed casual. He revisits over and over, analyzing every detail. He's aware of subtleties, the tone of your voice, your choice of words, how you moved, how you looked at him. These mental replays aren't just nostalgia, they're a way for him to feel close to you when distance exists. Each replay deepens his emotional connection, making him crave future moments where he can create new memories to savor privately. Does he think about your physical beauty more than your personality? Not entirely, though physical attraction is undeniably powerful. He admires your appearance, how you carry yourself, your style, your expressions, but it's entwined with fascination for your personality. Your energy, wit, and subtle humor are just as compelling, maybe even more, because they amplify the way he perceives your physical beauty. He notices how your presence transforms a room, not just through looks, but through charisma and the life you bring to interactions. Your beauty catches his eye, but your essence captures his mind. How much does your energy affect his mood? Dramatically. When you're around, there's a noticeable shift in him. He becomes more alert, more alive, more aware of small details, and even mundane things feel more vibrant. Your energy has this ripple effect, changing his perspective, making him more attuned to feelings he might otherwise ignore. Even after you leave, he carries a trace of that energy, replaying moments mentally, feeling both exhilaration and longing. It's intoxicating, sometimes confusing, but impossible for him to overlook. Is he secretly wishing time could stop when he's near you? Absolutely. There's a part of him that wants to freeze moments where your interaction feels effortless and charged at the same time. Whether it's a laugh shared over something small or a quiet glance that lasts longer than expected, he cherishes those pockets of time. In these moments, he imagines if time could hold still, he could soak in every detail, your expressions, your energy, your subtle gestures, without the anxiety of the moment ending too soon. It's a deeply private desire, unspoken, yet profoundly present every time he's near you. What kind of attention does he crave from you the most? He wants attention that's both personal and meaningful. Not just a casual glance or polite smile, but moments where you're genuinely engaged with him, making eye contact that lingers, laughing at his subtle humor, sharing a glance that communicates understanding without words. He craves validation that you see him as more than background noise, that you acknowledge the effort he's putting into being noticed while recognizing the depth of his curiosity and admiration for you. Does he feel younger or more alive when he's around you? Yes, he does. Being near you sparks a vitality he might not feel elsewhere. Your energy makes him feel lighter, more playful, more willing to take risks emotionally and socially. It's a rejuvenation of sorts, where his thoughts shift from routine concerns to the excitement of interaction with you. The age gap might make him hesitant in some ways, but it also intensifies this feeling, like your presence is a jolt of youthful electricity that he's intoxicated by and secretly grateful for. What is his deepest fear about being honest with his feelings? He fears rejection and the possibility of altering the dynamic irreparably. Being honest with you could either bring him closer or push you away, and the uncertainty is daunting. There's also a vulnerability factor. He knows that admitting the intensity of his feelings exposes him, making him emotionally raw and unguarded. He struggles internally with whether the risk is worth it, weighing the potential connection against the possibility of embarrassment, awkwardness, or even loss of access to the moments he treasures most. How does he interpret your gestures, even the smallest ones? Every gesture is dissected, analyzed, and interpreted multiple times over in his mind. A glance, a smile, a subtle change in tone. All of it becomes a language he tries to decode. He reads between the lines constantly, searching for hints of interest, playfulness, or reciprocation. Even inconsequential actions can trigger emotional responses, fueling hope or hesitation. He's hyper-aware, noticing subtleties most people would miss, because your smallest signals feel like clues to understanding his place in your world. Is he protective of you in ways he doesn't show? He is. Behind the calm or casual exterior, there's a vigilance. He notices when someone is disrespectful or dismissive, even in subtle ways, and internally reacts, imagining scenarios where he could step in. It's not overt or dramatic. It's an instinctive feeling of wanting to guard your comfort and safety to ensure that your space and energy remain undisturbed. He may not act on it directly, but this protective instinct underlines a deeper care and investment that he rarely communicates openly. How often does he compare himself to other men in your life? Quite frequently, though he tries not to let it dominate his thoughts. Every interaction you have with others prompts a quiet internal measurement. Am I witty enough? Attractive enough? Present enough? Can I hold your attention better? These comparisons aren't always negative. Sometimes they motivate him. Sometimes they spark insecurity. The constant self-assessment reflects how much he values your attention and the subtle desire to be seen as someone memorable or unique in your experience. What emotions does he struggle to control when he's around you? A whole spectrum: excitement, longing, nervousness, even awe. He battles between showing composure and giving in to the magnetic pull you create. There's also an undercurrent of fear of saying too much, looking too eager, or misreading a moment. He's balancing fascination and restraint, attraction and apprehension, often feeling emotions so intensely that he has to actively regulate his reactions to avoid revealing the depth of what he feels. Does he feel a sense of longing or desire more often than he admits? Yes, this is one of the strongest forces within him. Longing isn't always romantic in a straightforward sense. It's the desire to be near you, to understand you, to engage with the parts of you that feel elusive yet magnetic. It's persistent, sometimes distracting, and often hidden behind casual conversation or deliberate nonchalance. Even when he tries to suppress it, the feeling bubbles up, coloring his thoughts and choices, reminding him constantly of the pull you exert over him. How does he react when you share personal details with him? He treasures it more than he can articulate. Every personal story or intimate detail you reveal is a bridge into your inner world, something he deeply values. It sparks a mix of admiration, closeness, and responsibility. He wants to honor your trust, remember every nuance, and respond in a way that shows he's attentive and engaged. Your openness feeds his fascination and makes him feel a rare connection, reinforcing the depth of his interest and the respect he has for you. Does he imagine scenarios where you are only with him? Yes, and these scenarios play out vividly in his mind. He envisions moments where the world shrinks down to just the two of you, where distractions fade away, and it's all about shared energy, laughter, and connection. Sometimes it's quiet and intimate, sitting together, talking about anything and everything, feeling understood and accepted. Other times, it's more charged, imagining flirtation, closeness, or moments where the attraction between you can't be denied. These mental scenarios are both a safe escape and a way for him to explore what it might feel like to have your undivided attention without fear of rejection. What parts of your personality captivate him the most? It's not a single trait. It's the way your personality layers and interacts with everything around you. Your intelligence draws him in first, making him curious about your thoughts and perspective. Your humor keeps him engaged and lightens the intensity he feels when near you. Your confidence commands respect, yet your kindness softens the edges, making him feel comfortable in your presence. There's also your spontaneity, the little surprises in your reactions, gestures, and choices that keep him on his toes. All of these elements together create a complexity that fascinates him endlessly. Does he ever feel overwhelmed by his attraction to you? Yes, at times it's almost overpowering. There are moments when being near you floods his senses. Your laughter, your energy, the subtle ways you move and interact, and he feels a surge of desire and admiration that is hard to contain. He might physically calm himself, adjusting his posture or taking a deep breath, but internally, there's a storm of emotion. It's exciting, thrilling, and at times intimidating, because the intensity of his attraction challenges him to maintain composure while fully experiencing the pull you have over him. How does your laughter impact his inner thoughts? It's electric for him. Your laughter acts like a magnet, instantly drawing his focus and stirring feelings he can barely contain. It signals joy, authenticity, and a playful side that captivates him completely. When he hears you laugh, he replays it in his mind later, imagining the nuances, the tone, the rhythm, the sparkle in your eyes, and feels a mix of happiness and longing. It's a sound that energizes him and anchors him emotionally, reminding him of the rare and compelling presence you carry everywhere you go. What unspoken words does he wish he could say to you? There are countless unspoken words, ranging from simple admiration to deep, heartfelt desire. He wishes he could tell you how much your presence moves him, how every small detail about you lingers in his thoughts, how profoundly he values your attention. He wants to express his longing, his curiosity, his excitement, and his reverence for your energy without frightening you or overstepping boundaries. These words remain mostly internal, shared only in fleeting glances, subtle gestures, or the intensity in his gaze, because speaking them outright feels vulnerable and risky. Is he afraid you might notice how deeply he admires you? Absolutely. He fears that revealing too much might make him seem obsessive, overly eager, or vulnerable in ways he isn't ready to handle. There's a delicate balance he tries to maintain, being near you, engaging with you, showing enough interest to be noticed, but never so much that his inner admiration is exposed completely. The thought that you might sense the depth of his fascination sometimes excites him and terrifies him simultaneously, because it could change the dynamic or make him feel exposed. How often does he daydream about your connection growing stronger? Frequently, in quiet moments when he's alone, or trying to focus on other things. These daydreams range from imagining casual shared experiences to envisioning deeper emotional intimacy. He imagines small gestures that could bring you closer, an inside joke, a subtle touch, a shared secret. Every daydream strengthens his attachment and makes him yearn for reality to match his imagination. It's a mental rehearsal of possibilities, a private space where he explores hope, desire, and the fantasy of mutual closeness without taking real-world risks. Does he secretly hope you'll initiate closeness with him? Yes, he longs for signs that you want the same connection. He watches for subtle hints, small gestures, lingering glances, casual touches, that could indicate reciprocal interest. There's a desire for reassurance that his attraction isn't one-sided, that you might crave proximity, conversation, or intimacy as much as he does. This hope fuels his attentiveness, making him notice nuances in your behavior he might otherwise overlook. Every small sign from you is magnified in his mind as a possible gateway to something deeper. What signs does he look for to know you feel the same way? He looks for subtle but consistent patterns, sustained eye contact, micro-expressions of joy or interest, casual touches, laughter that seems directed at him specifically. He also notices timing, how often you seek interaction, how quickly you respond, or the way you include him in your space. These signs are never taken lightly. Each one is cataloged mentally, analyzed, and replayed to determine whether there's a genuine spark. He seeks reassurance without overtly asking for it, using observation to decode your feelings while trying to protect his own vulnerability. Does he feel jealousy toward other women, even subtly? Yes, even if he tries to downplay it internally. Seeing you interact with other women can trigger a quiet tug of possessiveness, a subtle tension that surfaces in thought more than action. It's not about controlling you or limiting your interactions. It's more a reflection of the intensity of his feelings and the desire to feel unique in your perception. He measures interactions, assesses dynamics, and sometimes recalibrates his own behavior to ensure he remains present and significant in your world. How does your presence influence his decisions or behavior? Significantly. Your presence can alter how he approaches conversations, how he presents himself, and even how he manages his time or choices. He becomes more conscious of his words, gestures, and overall demeanor, striving to align his actions with the impression he hopes to leave. In subtle ways, he's reshaping his behavior to be more appealing, attentive, or engaging, guided by the magnetic effect you have on him. The influence is continuous, sometimes conscious, sometimes subconscious, but always present. What internal conflicts does he face regarding his attraction? He battles between desire and restraint, admiration and insecurity, hope and fear of rejection. There's an ongoing negotiation within him about how much to reveal, how much to hold back, and how to navigate the intensity of his feelings without overwhelming either of you. He questions his own worthiness, analyzes your responses for hidden meanings, and sometimes doubts whether his attraction is appropriate or sustainable. These internal conflicts make his feelings richer, more complex, and often more consuming than they appear externally. Is he more drawn to your beauty or your energy? It's impossible for him to separate the two completely. Your beauty catches his eye, but your energy, your vitality, your humor, your presence is what keeps him captivated. He's fascinated by the way you inhabit the world, how your personality amplifies your physical allure. Without your energy, your beauty would still draw him in, but it's the combination, the living, breathing essence of who you are, that creates an almost irresistible pull. It's a holistic fascination where mind, body, and spirit intertwine in his perception of you. How does he react when he sees you interacting with others playfully? He experiences a mix of admiration, intrigue, and subtle anxiety. Playful interactions highlight your charm and vivacity, making him more aware of the magnetic effect you have on others. There's also a twinge of longing, imagining what it would be like to share that playful energy exclusively with him. At the same time, he assesses dynamics carefully, trying to understand your reactions, reading between the lines for signs of interest or preference. The interplay of attraction and observation keeps him engaged, emotionally active, and quietly hopeful for moments where he might be the one receiving your playful attention. Does he feel excitement or nervousness when you're near? Both, and often simultaneously. There's a thrill that pulses through him every time you enter the same space, a quickened heartbeat, heightened awareness, and a subtle anticipation of what might happen. But along with excitement comes nervousness. He wonders if he's saying or doing the right thing, if he's making a favorable impression, or if you notice the intensity of his attention. The nervousness doesn't diminish the attraction. In fact, it amplifies it, making every glance, gesture, and word feel weighty with potential. Even small interactions carry layers of emotion that he struggles to keep contained, and this mixture of exhilaration and anxiety is part of the intoxication he feels around you. What kind of moments with you does he treasure in secret? The small, intimate, almost invisible moments. He cherishes times when you share a private joke, when your eyes meet and hold for just a second longer than normal, or when you say something thoughtful that only he notices. Even fleeting physical proximity, a brush of your hand, a shared space on a bench, standing near each other in a room, becomes a treasured memory. He mentally collects these instances like rare gems, replaying them over and over, storing them as evidence of connection and closeness that he can retreat to when you're not around. Does he secretly measure how he can impress you better than others? Yes, he does, though it's subtle and often unconscious. He notices how other men behave around you, what draws your attention, and what kind of energy you respond to. Then he adjusts his own behavior, his words, his gestures, even his posture, to stand out in ways that feel natural rather than forced. It's a balancing act. He wants to impress without appearing competitive, to be noticed without overreaching, and to ensure that every subtle action communicates his interest and respect simultaneously. This internal strategy is ongoing, constantly adapting to the little cues he observes from you. How often does he wonder what you truly think of him? Frequently, sometimes obsessively. Every interaction leaves him analyzing the words you choose, your tone, the expressions you display, and even the pauses between your sentences. He wonders if you find him interesting, attractive, engaging, or merely background noise. These reflections aren't superficial. They stem from a deep desire to be understood, appreciated, and seen in the way he hopes. Every casual comment or glance from you becomes a potential clue, a fragment of insight into your perception of him, and he revisits these moments repeatedly in his mind to interpret their meaning. Does he ever imagine a future where you are together? Yes, though these imaginings are careful and sometimes bittersweet. He pictures scenarios where closeness is natural and effortless, sharing meals, conversations that stretch late into the night, and private moments where mutual understanding and attraction are fully expressed. He doesn't always let these thoughts dominate because he's conscious of reality, boundaries, and the unpredictability of your reactions. But in quiet moments, these daydreams give him hope, fuel desire, and allow him to explore what could be, without risking actual vulnerability or overstepping limits. How much does your approval matter to him internally? It matters deeply, more than he would ever openly admit. Your attention, interest, and approval act as subtle validations of his worth and presence. When you respond positively, even in small ways, it creates a sense of accomplishment, confidence, and connection that he craves. Conversely, when he perceives indifference or distance, it triggers insecurity and doubt. Your perception shapes his emotional state more than most people realize, and he's acutely aware of how much influence your judgment holds over his internal equilibrium. What part of you does he feel is untouchable and rare? The combination of your confidence, intelligence, and authenticity. These qualities create an aura that feels almost sacred, something he respects profoundly and doesn't take lightly. He senses that this blend of traits isn't found often, making your presence unique and compelling. He's drawn to it because it challenges him, fascinates him, and inspires him simultaneously. There's also a part of him that feels these aspects are delicate, not to be disrupted or trivialized, which is why he often approaches you with careful observation and measured engagement. Does he try to hide his admiration, or is it obvious to you? He mostly hides it, though some hints inevitably slip through. He wants to appear composed, confident, and casual around you, so he carefully moderates expressions, tone, and gestures. Yet certain moments betray him. A lingering glance, a subtle smile, or an almost imperceptible pause when you speak signals that his attention is intensely focused on you. He's aware that some of his admiration leaks through despite his best efforts, and these moments are both thrilling and terrifying for him, because they risk revealing the depth of his feelings prematurely. How does he react when you unexpectedly pay him attention? He's electrified, often caught off guard by the intensity of his own reaction. A casual word, glance, or gesture from you can send a rush of excitement and validation through him. He feels acknowledged, seen, and momentarily elevated in a way that few other interactions can produce. This reaction might be subtle externally, a quick shift in posture, a brighter smile, but internally, it's a surge of emotion, relief, and exhilaration, reinforcing his desire to stay present in your awareness and maintain a connection, however small or fleeting it may be. What private thoughts make him smile when thinking of you? A vast array, from tender to mischievous. He recalls moments where you laughed, shared a secret, or displayed vulnerability that he witnessed or imagined. He thinks about your quirks, the way you move, your subtle expressions, and even hypothetical scenarios where you two interact playfully or intimately. These thoughts create a sense of warmth, amusement, and longing, allowing him to experience closeness and happiness privately, even when he's apart from you. It's a collection of small mental treasures that he returns to often, savoring the emotional resonance they bring. Does he wish he could freeze moments with you forever? Yes, particularly moments that feel charged with connection, laughter, or mutual understanding. He imagines if time could stop during these encounters, he could fully absorb your presence, your energy, and the way you make him feel. Freezing time would let him savor every detail, the subtlety of your expressions, the cadence of your voice, the way your attention feels focused on him. These thoughts are quiet, intimate, and personal, reflecting his deep desire to hold onto experiences that are fleeting, yet profoundly impactful. How deeply does he feel the need to be close to you emotionally? It's a strong, persistent need that drives much of his internal behavior. He craves shared understanding, emotional intimacy, and moments where he can feel connected beyond surface-level interaction. He wants to be someone you can confide in, laugh with, and rely on, even in subtle ways. This desire shapes his attention to detail, the way he listens, and the way he interprets your responses. It's not casual. It's a profound longing for meaningful proximity that keeps him engaged, alert, and emotionally invested whenever you're near. What unspoken desires does he carry that he hopes you never discover? There's a multitude, ranging from longing for private moments to fantasies of deeper connection. He desires to be noticed in ways that feel significant, to be the person who makes you laugh, think, or pause with attention that isn't fleeting. He has fantasies of closeness, touches, conversations, and shared experiences that he carefully tucks away because revealing them might feel risky or overly vulnerable. These desires remain hidden because they are intensely personal, fueled by admiration, longing, and a hope that one day circumstances might allow him to explore them safely. Does he ever feel that he's unworthy of your attention? Yes, and it's a quiet tension he carries internally. Despite his confidence in other areas of life, your presence brings a vulnerability he doesn't show outwardly. He questions whether he measures up to your energy, your beauty, your charisma. There's a subtle fear that no matter what he does, it might never be enough to truly capture your attention or hold it meaningfully. This feeling doesn't stop him from being drawn to you. Instead, it intensifies his awareness of every gesture, glance, and word he shares around you, making him more deliberate and conscious in your interactions. How often does he think about ways to make you smile? Almost constantly, especially when he's apart from you. He imagines little scenarios where he can provoke laughter, intrigue, or delight, playful remarks, thoughtful gestures, or shared inside jokes. The idea of seeing you smile creates an almost magnetic pull, motivating him to find subtle ways to insert positivity into your day. Even minor successes in this regard give him immense satisfaction and a sense of connection, reinforcing the desire to continue noticing the smallest details about you that could spark that response. Does he ever feel a sense of urgency regarding you? Yes. There's a simmering urgency that runs beneath the surface of his thoughts. It's a feeling that time with you is precious and fleeting, and that every interaction holds potential that mustn't be wasted. This urgency isn't desperate. It's more of a heightened awareness that your energy is compelling, and that opportunities to connect or make an impression are finite. It shapes the way he behaves around you, making him more attentive, more responsive, and more conscious of moments where closeness or engagement could naturally occur. How strongly does he feel admiration for your intelligence and personality? It's profound and constant. He admires not only your physical presence, but the sharpness of your mind, your wit, and the depth of your thoughts. When you express opinions, solve problems, or articulate ideas, it resonates with him in ways that simple attraction never could. This admiration intertwines with desire, creating a complex fascination that makes him want to be near you, to learn from you, and to be part of moments where your brilliance shines. Your intelligence and personality amplify the allure he feels, making you unforgettable in his perception. Does he experience moments of jealousy about other people's attention toward you? Yes, but it's nuanced. It's not anger or resentment. It's a mix of insecurity and longing, paired with recognition of your magnetism. He notices when others engage with you, especially in ways that elicit laughter or warmth, and it triggers an internal comparison. What they are giving you, and how he wishes he could provide it instead. These moments heighten his awareness of his own feelings and intensify the desire to be someone who captures your attention more deeply and meaningfully. What is his biggest hesitation in approaching you more boldly? Fear of rejection and fear of disrupting the delicate dynamic. He knows that acting too overtly could either push you away or make interactions awkward, so he treads carefully. There's also internal debate about timing, appropriateness, and whether his intentions will be perceived as genuine. Even when desire urges him forward, he balances it with caution, analyzing each potential action to ensure it aligns with both his feelings and your comfort. This hesitation keeps him in a state of controlled longing, where he admires and desires without risking exposure prematurely. Does he ever feel that you are out of his reach? Yes, particularly in quiet, reflective moments. He perceives you as magnetic, rare, and extraordinary, qualities that make him question whether he could ever be fully worthy of your attention or affection. This perception isn't debilitating. Rather, it sharpens his awareness, fuels his admiration, and heightens the intensity of his longing. He oscillates between hope that closeness is possible and recognition of the challenge in attaining it, creating a dynamic tension that drives his inner fascination with you. How does he react when you're effortlessly charming around him? He's captivated, often internally exhilarated and slightly breathless. Your effortless charm amplifies your allure in his perception, making him feel both drawn and humbled. He experiences admiration, a desire to be near, and subtle self-consciousness about how he presents himself in response. Charm for you isn't casual. It's magnetic, disarming, and deeply impactful, leaving him replaying the moment repeatedly in his thoughts, analyzing every detail, and imagining ways to reciprocate or match your energy. Does he secretly hope you'll notice him in ways others don't? Absolutely. He wants to be seen uniquely, appreciated for subtleties others might overlook. He desires recognition of his humor, attentiveness, or the small gestures that reveal his interest and admiration. There's an unspoken wish for your gaze, attention, and energy to linger on him in ways that are personal, meaningful, and distinct from anyone else. It's a quiet hope that you'll sense the depth of his fascination without it needing to be overtly expressed. What is the intensity of his longing when he thinks about you? It's deeply consuming, a persistent undercurrent that colors his thoughts and emotions. Longing manifests as desire to be near you, to engage in shared moments, to connect emotionally and energetically. It's a mixture of admiration, curiosity, excitement, and subtle anxiety, creating a powerful emotional cocktail that he navigates daily. This longing is private, reflective, and often intensified by distance, making even brief interactions with you feel profoundly impactful. Does he analyze your reactions more than you realize? Constantly. Every gesture, word, tone, and glance is stored and dissected mentally. He tries to decode interest, engagement, attraction, or even neutrality in your behavior. Even subtle variations, a pause, a shift in expression, a delayed response, become important clues to him. This analysis is not manipulative, but deeply rooted in fascination and desire to understand how you feel about him, what energy you share, and whether he can respond in ways that might deepen your connection. How strongly does he feel pulled toward you physically and emotionally? The pull is undeniable and layered. Physically, he's drawn to your presence, movements, and expressions. Emotionally, he craves closeness, attention, and shared understanding. These two forces combine to create a magnetic energy that he struggles to resist, constantly seeking proximity, engagement, and validation. It's more than simple attraction. It's a persistent, compelling connection that influences thoughts, moods, and behaviors whenever you're near. What role does curiosity play in his feelings for you? Curiosity is central. He wants to understand everything about you, your thoughts, preferences, humor, history, and the little things that make you uniquely you. This curiosity fuels attention, observation, and careful listening. It's not intrusive. It's an intense desire to explore your world, to comprehend your energy, and to create meaningful interactions that feel authentic. Curiosity sustains fascination and keeps him mentally engaged even when you're not present. Does he imagine moments where he can make you feel special in unique ways? Yes, frequently. He thinks about gestures, conversations, and small experiences that would allow him to stand out in your perception. He imagines making you laugh in unexpected ways, creating private jokes, sharing experiences that resonate, or simply being present in a manner that feels significant and memorable. These imagined moments are deeply personal, reflecting both admiration and desire to create connections that feel intimate and exclusive. How does he respond internally when he senses your energy shifting around him? He's highly sensitive to changes in your demeanor. A sudden smile, a laugh, a shift in tone, or even body language triggers a cascade of thoughts and emotions in him. He analyzes the cause, searches for implications, and mentally adjusts his behavior to align with or complement your energy. The response is instinctive and emotional, blending awareness, fascination, and the desire to remain attuned to your presence in ways that feel natural and engaging.